Hello, Elaine.
Hi, Stephen.
Okay, so this is our little sort of intro chat Q&A. I wonder if you might just give us a brief introduction about who you are and where you fit into things before we start.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, my name is Elaine Parker. I'm an Adlerian therapist and a supervisor and trainer. I do a lot of different kinds of training and CPD days in various places. I've been qualified since 2008, so I've got a reasonable amount of experience under my belt. And I really like the theories of Alfred Adler, and I love teaching them.
Lovely. Thank you, Elaine. Actually, that takes us on quite nicely to, I think, probably one of the first questions that people tend to ask, which is, what is this Alfred Adler thing? What's Adlerian psychology?
So yes, Adlerian psychology is something a lot of people haven't heard of. So it's based on Alfred Adler, who lived in Vienna. He was born in Vienna in 1870 and he died in Scotland in 1937. He was around in Vienna at the same time as Freud and many other extremely well-known psychologists. But his own theories have become less well-known, but they are at the foundation of many, many positive psychology theories and applications. So really, Adler's theory is very simple. He believed in people being mainly social creatures. So all the work is around social interest, which was his term. The German word is Gemeinschaftsgefühl, and it means a feeling of cooperation, of belonging, of contribution, and that is the way to good mental health. So really, all the application of his theory is built around that.
Mm, yeah, thank you. That's great. Um, and okay, so moving on to this introductory course that you'll be teaching. Um, Obviously, what you've described, there's an awful lot of material there. So, what does the intro course cover?
The
What do
intro,
people learn?
yeah, the intro course is really to introduce people to two things. Firstly, to Alfred Adler's theories and how they work in practice. They are full of encouragement. They're very straightforward theories, although it's deep psychology, but very much accessible to people. It's not full of long words. And then the other aspect of the course is the counselling side, so how we listen, how we question, how we clarify things. So there'll be some practical skills, but also they'll be built around Adler's theories.
Yeah.
So it's a practical course as well as a theoretical course. I think that's really about it.
Yeah. Okay. No, that sounds great. I mean, who would this benefit? Who would be the sort of person that would find this course useful?
Well, the course is open to anyone. Um, some people come along to further their personal development, to understand themselves a little better. Some people come to hone some of the practical skills of listening and all of the stuff. So people like nurses come, people therapists, massage therapists, people who want to begin to explore the world of psychology and counselling. So it's a very broad course. Anybody can come, really.
Yeah. I know we've had a few teachers on our courses before as well, haven't we? Because
Yeah.
communication is really important there. In terms of coming onto the course, do people need any kind of qualification or previous training to enable them to access this?
No, it's a completely open access. We don't need any qualifications. The main thing we look for in our therapy training, which we'll go into in a minute, is the personal qualities, the
Yeah.
ability to listen, the interest in the interest of another. That's how my dear colleague Wes Bridget described
Yes.
our work, to take interest in others.
Yes. It's something about curiosity as well, isn't it? That
Yeah,
ability to wonder what's going on for somebody else.
yeah.
That's lovely. And how are you going to deliver this course?
Well, the course is going to be delivered in a sort of hybrid way. We're going to do 4 Tuesday evenings online and 2 weekends, because this is the kind of setup that we have for the further training on our certificate and diploma courses. So some of it face-to-face, but not all of it. So people might want to travel for the 2 weekends a little bit further. They can stay over if they want, or they might want to drive home in between. People would need to find their own accommodation if they wanted to stay. And then in between times, the regular 4 weekly webinars, which will be delivered on Zoom. So you need an internet connection and a place of relative quiet so you can focus.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds great. We've seen a lot more of this kind of Zoom thing since the COVID pandemic, haven't we?
Yeah, it's opening things up to people.
Certainly it does. Okay, and I imagine a question that a lot of people will be asking: how much does it cost?
This course is £380. So you can pay a deposit of £100 to guarantee your place, but the overall cost is £380, and that includes things like refreshments on the face-to-face weekends as well. You have to bring your own lunch, but other than that, coffee and biscuits and tea and all that is provided.
Yeah, and I always think it's useful to think of this in terms of an investment in yourself. I mean, I know that people who've come onto these courses before have gone away really having learned a lot and got a lot out of it. And if you kind of if you think about that amount of money in terms of sessions of therapy, it's not really all that much. And yeah, so it's definitely an investment.
It's definitely an investment in yourself, because it's the main thing I think that people take away from our courses is encouragement, is that they feel that they've got something to contribute, that they feel better about themselves, they understand themselves a little bit better. It's the beginning of that journey of self-exploration, but also connecting with others, helping others to manage their difficulties. So it's a good investment. And I have, thinking about previous courses I ran a course many years ago in 2009, and I've had really good feedback from people who remember the course, remember the encouragement, and that's recent feedback, people I've kept in touch with. I'm in touch with 3 or 4 of the people from that course. So it's something really meaningful about Adler's theory and its application, that people really warm to it, and it's very encouraging.
Yeah, I would have to absolutely second that. My experience has been very much the same. I mean, as a side note, I came to Adler halfway through my training in other areas, and I found it immediately very, very applicable and very relevant to everything I was doing, not just as a therapist, but in life generally. So yeah. Talking of this and the validity of the course, I mean, is it recognised? Does that?
Well, the course is. IPT is an organisational member of the UK Adlerian Society, who are very much behind our courses and who moderate our courses. So it's recognised also by us as an introduction to our certificate and diploma. So there is recognition, and it is an introductory course. It's not a full qualification, but it's the beginning, it's the first step.
Yes, yeah. And you mentioned that about it not being a full qualification, so we're not expecting anybody to complete the intro course and be able to go off and call themselves a counsellor.
No.
Are there qualifications that they can lead on to from having done this intro course?
Yes. The intro gives enough hours of learning in order to enter our certificate course. But of course, coming onto our certificate, there is an interview process. So it's not a done deal that if you have this introductory certificate, CPD certificate, that you will definitely get a place on the intro, but it's the beginning of the process.
Yes.
And eventually we have a 1-year certificate course for training therapists, and then a 2-year diploma course. These are all part-time, and it's the diploma course, then a case study that qualifies people to become a therapist. So it's a long process, and this is the start of it.
Yeah. And just to go back to what you were saying much earlier on, that kind of interview process is really about drawing out what these personal qualities of the applicants are and whether we feel that they're suitable in the long term for going through.
Very much about personal qualities. That's the essence of counselling and therapy, is the relationship, the way people can be with each other. Yeah, definitely.
So it may well be that we've answered all the questions that people might have about the course, but if there are questions, where should they go?
They can have a look at the Individual Psychology Training IPT website. They can also contact me on egpadlerian, ADLERIAN @gmail.com. I'm happy to answer questions, and the IPT team will answer any questions as well.
Yeah, I'll put the email addresses of the website up as a caption on the video so that people can see that.
Great. And there is also there's an email for you to sign up. If you wish to sign up, there is an email address which will be on the website and on any other publicity we have as well.
Yeah, so we have a sign up box right up on the front page of the Individual Psychology Training website, which I recommend anybody who's watching this and is interested in knowing a bit more about what we are and how we do what we do, signs up to. You won't get terribly spammed, but you'll get lots of useful information and occasional notifications of things coming up. And I mean, I can probably answer the final question, which is how do people sign up for this? And I think you've answered it in a way already. But certainly, if in the first instance you send an email to the inquiries @individualpsychologytraining.co.uk address, and I'll put that up on the screen later, our admin people will be in touch with you, and we can talk you through what you need to do to sign up and take a deposit from you, etc., etc.
Right.
So thanks very much, Elaine. That's really useful. Yeah, and I hope the training runs wonderfully, and that you have lots of people there with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Stephen.